Hi there everybody, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I usually do like I focus on something, for example like an eye tutorial, and then I just do the eye tutorial and maybe like highlighting and things like that here and there. But other than that, I haven't really done a full face including the eyes, the contour, everything in one video in a while at least. So I thought, why not do the whole thing for this video? So that's what I did on this look. Let me show you guys the palettes that I used because I think it's helpful later on as I do the tutorial. So the palettes that I have used for this tutorial are the Morphe 35OM, the Old Matte palette, the favorite, my favorite, the Colourpop palette, and the BH Cosmetics 28 color neutral eyes eyeshadow palette. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and let's get right into the tutorial. Alright guys, so to moisturize my face, I'm going to be using the Vaseline Intensive Care Dry Skin Repair. I do have quite a dry skin, and it does contain glycerin as one of its ingredients, so I just go ahead and apply that on my face. Once I've done that, I go ahead with my DIY color corrector. So basically I apply this orange color corrector around the dark areas of my face. If you guys are interested, I'll link it right over here and also in the description box, so feel free to check it out. Next, I go ahead and apply a little bit of the Fix Plus on my face. Normally I would do it before color correcting, but I forgot. Actually, I don't even know if it makes a difference anyway, but it feels good on the face, so I do it. Once I've done that, I go ahead with my Maybelline Fit Me Dewy and Smooth Skin Foundation. So I go ahead and apply that on my face with my finger first, and then I go with my Real Technique Wet Complexion Sponge, and I'm basically dabbing it onto my face to kind of let everything sink in and blend it out properly. And then I go with another DIY. This is a DIY brow pomade that I made. So I go ahead and apply that on my eyebrows in a feather-like motion using my e.l.f. angle brush. And to kind of fill in any areas that I want to fill in more, I go ahead with my Wet n Wild Cool Liner called Pretty in Mink number 602A. So I go ahead and fill it in, and I actually love how it comes out combined with the DIY. Next, I go with my e.l.f. Complete Coverage Concealer in the shade Medium, and then I take the darker shade from that palette and use that to carve out under my eyebrow. And this is pretty much the only concealer that I have been using for a really long time actually. So once I've applied the concealer with my brush, I go ahead and blend it out using my ring finger. Alright, to conceal my face, I'm going to be using the LA Girl Pro Conceal Concealer. Concealer? What? And I'll be applying that under my eyes, my chin, and a little bit on the side of my mouth to kind of conceal hyperpigmentation on my face. When I'm dabbing the concealer on the bottom eyelid, I like to look up and dab it because that's where the most creasing is. So to kind of smooth it out as much as possible, if you look up, it'll be a lot more easier to get less creasing or no creasing at all. I guess depending on what product you're using. To keep the concealer in place and keep it looking smooth, I'm going to be using the CoverGirl Translucent Powder in number 115 and apply that right on top after I apply the concealer. And the brush that I'm using right here is called the e.l.f. Blush Brush. It kind of has a tapered end, so it lets me go into those corners that are kind of tricky to get into. So I like this brush to do that. I also like to go ahead and put quite a bit of powder around my smile lines because I get quite a heavy amount, I would say, of a smile line. So I like to go ahead and powder that up as well to decrease the amount. Alright, so moving on to the eyes, I go ahead and prime it with the same e.l.f. Complete Coverage Concealer, but I use one of the lighter shades this time. And then I go back with the translucent powder and the tapered brush that I used earlier to set my eyelids. And then I go with the Morphe 35OM palette and take this beautiful brown shade and use that as my transition eyeshadow. And I'm also using the BH Cosmetics blending brush, a smaller blending brush, to put that on the crease area. And I use a windshield wiper motion to blend that in. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the powder because it doesn't really have no use to me right now. So once I've done that, with the same brown shade, I go ahead and apply that on the bottom eyelid. Next, I go with this gorgeous red eyeshadow from the Morphe 35OM palette, the same one that I have been using. And I'm going to apply that first using a smaller brush to kind of guide me around the outer V area of the eye. And then I go with my angle brush and pack the color on. For the center and inner part of the eye, I'm going to be taking this pink shimmery shade from the Kylie Bible palette with BH Cosmetics and apply that with my Fix Plus so I can get more of a vivid color. And then I go back with the red eyeshadow that I used earlier and my angle brush to kind of mix the two together so it will be nice and blended. I also use the red eyeshadow for the bottom eyelid as well. So at this point, I kind of noticed I went a little bit overboard. So I'm going back with the brown eyeshadow that I used at the beginning and blending it with the red one. So it will be a little less dramatic. To highlight my brow bone, I go with the BH Cosmetics 28 Color Neutral Eyes and use one of my favorite shades from there to highlight. And for my inner corners, I'm going to be using this Kylie Bible Highlight. Okay, moving on to the contouring part of the face. Currently, I'm using this shade as a bronzer from the Morphe 06 PW palette. It is a powder and it's very pigmented, so I like to use that as my bronzer all over my face. And also, this is the only thing that I use to contour my nose area as well. For my cheekbone and forehead area, to kind of give it a little bit more dimension, I am going with the darkest shade from the same palette. As you guys can see, it's very pigmented, so kind of go easy if you guys have this palette. So I'm going to be using that and I'm applying it with another brush that's from Amazon. To highlight, I'm going to go with these two highlighters from the Kylie Bible palette, mix them together and highlight the high points of my face. I'm also going with, I don't have a blush actually, no blush whatsoever. Well, currently that is. So I'm going to go with this mauve eyeshadow from the same Kylie Bible palette and apply it as my blush. I've done it before, I liked it, so that's why I'm doing it again. To finish off the eyes, I'm going to be wearing the Wonder Lash Mascara by Rimmel London. And for my lashes, I'm wearing Kiss Lashes. It's a drugstore eyelash, and I'm not exactly sure what the name is, but I will definitely leave it in the description box below. And to finish off the whole face, I go ahead and spray Fix Plus all over, and that's pretty much it. I'm wearing Thursday on my lips. Anyways, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and if you guys like more of this kind of makeup tutorial videos versus just focusing on one part of the face, let me know in the comment area. That helps me to know what kind of videos that you guys want to watch next. I think I'm done. Thank you so much for watching. Have I said that? I don't know if I said it, but let me say it again anyway. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in another video.